Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Today, the crypto market got the jump that it was looking for, but is this the jump that XRP holders are looking for? Well, yes, XRP's up today, nearly 3%, but Bitcoin's up over 7% at the time that I'm recording this. So what does this mean for XRP? What does XRP look like against Bitcoin? Well, you may have already guessed it, but not as hot today, even though against the United States dollar, XRP is up as well as Bitcoin. But in the end, I still maintain this just doesn't matter. That's my very strong conviction on this, and I want to articulate a little bit further why a little bit later in the video. But first, I want to talk about what happened today, why we're seeing this bounce, what should we expect for Bitcoin, which leads the market, because even if you're like me and you care way more about price action and data surrounding XRP or other altcoins in general, yes, you and I have a lot in common, then we still should be very interested in what happens with Bitcoin because it does lead the market. We want to see these big days for Bitcoin so that money ultimately rotates throughout the entire space, including into our beloved XRP. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. As I record this video, it is 5:26 p.m. Central Time, my time zone here in the good old Midwest of the United States. It is Wednesday, May 15th, 2024, and XRP is 51.5 cents, hitting a 24-hour high of 51.6 cents, so we're basically hovering at that point. You have Bitcoin $66,106 with a 24-hour high close to that at $66,346. But a 24-hour low for Bitcoin of $61,431. So big move to the upside starting this morning. Here's a crypto fear and greed index at 64 out of 100, but I'm not that interested in that number because this thing only updates once every 24 hours, and it's another hour and 32 minutes and 49 seconds until it updates again. And I have a pretty strong suspicion it's going to be a little bit higher than that. I don't know if we'll be back in extreme greed, perhaps we will, but this was a pretty notable jump today. You love seeing days like this. But what caused this? Well, CPI numbers as soon as this data came out, with crypto, as I continue to report, with crypto being absolutely treated as a risk-on asset just like stocks are. Not surprising, we continue to see a move in tandem. There absolutely is correlation here, undeniably the case. Here's a headline from CNBC. CPI report shows inflation easing in April, with consumer prices still rising 3.4% from a year ago. Okay, that's literally not true, though, and I gotta nitpick on this. They say inflation is easing. That is literally not true. The rate of inflation increasing is decreasing. So the inflation rate is what's changing. Inflation itself is increasing still. It is not going down. You will not find that you are paying less this month than last month across the board. It doesn't mean you can't find certain things, certain individual products where prices go up. Of course not. But this is absolutely not true. And it really bugs me when mainstream media does this stuff. So check this out. I don't even need to read much of this. Look at this part right here. They write, the Consumer Price Index, a broad measure of how much goods and services cost at the register, the cash register, increased, right there, they wrote it, increased 0.3% for March, the Labor Department's Bureau of Labor Statistics reported Wednesday. That was slightly below the Dow Jones estimate for 0.4%. So did interest rates ease or did they increase? Well, obviously, as they wrote here, that part's correct. It increased. It did not ease. The rate at which it increased is different than what was expected. That's it. And so across the board, markets took this as good news. And really, when it comes to the year-over-year increase, which again is still an increase, so it matched a year ago, or it matched the forecast anyway, at least 3.4%. I think, yeah, that's what this part is. On a 12-month basis, however, the CPI increased 3.4% in line with expectations. So inflation still up. That's an increase 3.4% from a year ago. It just really bugs me what mainstream media does here. They mischaracterize this stuff. And I think a lot of times people aren't being sufficiently precise when they word this, and they know what they mean to say, but they just don't say it. But I want to clarify it. It's always better to try to be as precise as possible, even though we're humans and we do it imperfectly. This is just this is my pet peeve. My other pet peeve is under my desk right now. She is my 9-year-old terrier mix. What a great name for a dog. But I will tell you this, the S&P 500, again, not going to surprise you because, like I say, it's all moves in tandem. S&P 500, new all-time high today, up 1.17%. I checked the NASDAQ 100 right before recording this. and it closed up 1.49% today. Now, again, none of this should be surprising if you're paying attention. But, what's interesting also, worth pointing out at least, is that crypto, if you look at, and you can look at Bitcoin specifically, fine, I don't care, because Bitcoin leads the market. Bitcoin trades like a tech stock. It moves strikingly similar. So yes, you can say the S&P 500, which is, pretty reasonable, gives you kind of a snapshot of what's happening in equities. If you take a look specifically at the NASDAQ 100, which is tech stocks, yeah, moving in tandem. So not surprising to see all of this happening today. Of course, it destroys the narrative that Bitcoin is some sort of hedge against what the bankers are doing, or tumultuous times, this and that. It's a bogus narrative. It's not true. Bitcoin maxis like to tell each other this lie in their echo chambers, but it's just not true. It's not how people are actually treating these assets here, which frankly shouldn't matter to any of us. Here's a post from chart analyst Credible Crypto. And he wrote, relief. He's talking about Bitcoin here. Relief is coming, in my opinion. Only question is, do we chop a bit more before the actual relief, take the high, then come back down for the lows again before real relief? Or do we get the relief now and leave the low behind and head up from here? And so what I'm finding very frequently is a lot of analysts, not with high conviction about what's going to happen in the super short term, but all of them incredibly confident that we're going to see a massive burst for Bitcoin and the entire crypto asset class, Bitcoin over $100,000, alt season, the whole 9 yards. All of them believe that. I don't follow one reputable analyst that doesn't think that, which is to say I don't follow any analysts that think we're not going to see that. Not one single one, and I follow dozens. So we'll see what happens. It's just that there is some uncertainty in the short term as to whether or not there could still be a pullback, or if this is really it and we're off to the races. And in this other post, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but in part, Credible Crypto noted, yes, we're still going to see Bitcoin over $100,000. Here's a post from the Nijin Tropic account, which is run by two of the co-founders of Glassnode. And this is a Bitcoin USD chart, and they wrote the following. Bitcoin finally making the bigger move. We have been waiting for the trigger for the release of larger structure since March high. Today we got that. CPI low and bad numbers for retail sales. This opens the door for more dovish stance from the Fed. Bitcoin and market like that. Now we expect $66,000 before $69,000, and then towards $84,000. And alts will follow strongly. And so that's why I'm reporting the way that I am in this order. Even if you care about XRP most, there's a reason I started with what's happening with the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 and CPI numbers. And then I follow that up with Bitcoin, because it's moving in tandem. That's good news. You want to see that. And then we get to the XRP stuff, which is coming. But sit with me. I want to share with you a few more perspectives about Bitcoin specifically, including this one from chart analyst Jelly. Wrote, there we go. Bitcoin pushing higher today as expected. Hold 65,000 for support. And I could see this playing out completely. And what could he see playing out? Well, inside of this green bar that he highlighted up here, it looks like Bitcoin going to over $80,000, or at least somewhere thereabout. Here's a post from chart analyst Matthew Hyland, equally optimistic that this might happen, though, again, what you're going to see is the recurring theme from all these analysts that think, yes, we're ultimately going to get there on the higher time frame. In the short term, not complete conviction that that is what's going to happen, not from Cred, not from Jelly, not from Matthew Hyland. Mikey Bull Crypto's coming up in just a second here. I'm not seeing strong conviction, but it's reasonable to suppose that it really could happen. This could have been the push that we need. And so Matthew Hyland here, chart analyst, said Bitcoin, the breakout target of the inverse head and shoulders would be $76,000. A confirmation of a breakout requires daily candle closes above the neckline. And so I will tell you this, at least at the time I'm recording this, we are there, and the daily close isn't far off from now. Here's a post from Mikey Bull Crypto talking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin inverse head and shoulders, so he's seeing this too, is another confluence for a bounce here. Daily RSI has now completed the trendline support retest. And you can see that he's indicating if this structure is going to play out, he's looking at somewhere around $74,580. So we're splitting hairs here, whether you think it's going to be 75,000 or closer to 80,000 or 76,000. The point is, if there's not going to be one final pullback down, or who knows, maybe more than one, if this is the moment where we're going to the upside, then somewhere up thereabouts. So we're talking about new all-time highs for Bitcoin. Market's going to get hot if this is the case. So I don't know for sure if this is the moment. Nobody seems to be displaying tons of conviction, but everybody acknowledges, just about from what I'm seeing, that this could actually be that moment. Here's a post from Mikey Bull Crypto talking about altcoins, so it's the total crypto market cap, excluding Bitcoin, and in this case, also excluding ETH. Altcoins market cap in preparation for an explosive rally, tick-tock, and he's indicating the structure right now, it's the same as what we had back in 2020. What ultimately happened? It's what's being called frequently by many analysts anyway as the reaccumulation phase. So for 2022 and part of 2023, we had, well, the depths of the bear market, basically. That was the true best place to buy. That was the accumulation phase when everybody's afraid and fewer people were paying attention. And then we had a notable move to the upside this year, and we got this pullback. That's the reaccumulation phase, which we had last cycle too. And then if it's going to be like last cycle, major move to the upside. It'll be short-lived, maybe a span of months, but blow off top. Blow off top for altcoins. That's where we get our life-changing wealth if we're sufficiently positioned. Here's a post from Chart Analyst Crypto's XRP. This is XRP USD chart. XRP is at daily resistance. Expect big moves if we close above this level today. And again, at the time I'm recording this, at least, we are above the level that he's citing here. It looks like he was showing 51.35 cents. Either way, and I'll just say this, even if there's another pullback, this is going to really disappoint some people. And I'm not saying it's going to happen. But if there is a pull to the downside, I won't be emotionally hit because I don't give a damn, because I'm more patient than everybody else. And ultimately, I firmly believe there will be a new all-time high for Bitcoin and XRP and ETH and you name it. Tons of these altcoins. Now, I don't think most altcoins are going to hit new all-time highs compared to their previous cycle, especially after you compare last cycle to the 2017 bull run, because something like 80% did not. So I'm thinking probably something like that again, you know, most coins not hitting new all-time highs. But my God, the opportunity is absolutely there. And look at what the market's paying attention to. XRP is clearly one of those coins, or else it wouldn't be in the top 10. Very obvious. Very super duper obvious. The only reason it didn't hit a new all-time high last market cycle, I believe, anyway, is because of the SEC nonsense. That is cleared up now. Exchanges have relisted XRP. Not a concern anymore. Here's a post from chart analyst Bobby A. talking about XRP BTC pair. Which, you know, actually, let me just pull it up on TradingView. Let me just acknowledge this. So you can see here's the bottom for this cycle. It was on April 13th, and then you come all the way up to here, so we're way above that. Happy to see that. Shouldn't be surprising that on a day like this, where Bitcoin and some select altcoins, yes, run to the upside, it shouldn't be viewed as disastrous or weird that XRP, although yes, up against the dollar today, is down against Bitcoin because Bitcoin had more money thrown at it in terms of United States dollars or many fiat currency. So it moved to the upside at a greater degree than XRP. So it is where it is. It goes back down. Nothing goes up in a straight line anyway. But I wanted to make an important point on this, especially in the face of so many toxic Bitcoin maximalists insisting that XRP goes to zero against Bitcoin, which is just an absurd assumption. And I talked about that in a video yesterday. And so, look, I'll just say another reason XRP will obviously have to find a bottom against Bitcoin. I mean, unless you imagine that every business and every human that uses it, and nobody, just literally nobody cares anymore, and it just goes to zero. Unless you think that, which is Looney Tune stuff. Another reason XRP will obviously have to find a bottom against Bitcoin is because Bitcoin will have a peak this cycle like it always does. It will not go up forever. Idiots will tell you that it will, which I've heard last cycle and the cycle before that. I had a front row seat to that. You know, when Bitcoin hit its all-time high in 2017, close to $20,000, people were insisting that cycle it was going over 100,000, baby. And it's just going to keep going because people finally get it. Same crap last cycle. But look, Tesla bought it, and MicroStrategy's in, and blah, 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 and Laser Eyes, and we're idiots. Yeah, well, you got that part right. You're a bunch of idiots because it's not going to go up forever. Cycles are a thing. Same here. It's not going to go up forever. Bitcoin will have a top for this cycle, and then it will crater back down. Duh. God, it's not hard to figure this stuff out. But now there's a narrative every time that for White Mountain. So this time, well, the institutions are here now. That was part of the narrative last time, by the way. Futures, contracts, this and that, you name it. Now it's because of the Bitcoin ETFs. But the institutions are here. Shut up. That is, you're just spouting nonsense. That's not how liquidity cycles work. So obviously XRP is going to find a bottom against Bitcoin because Bitcoin won't go up forever. And XRP's performed fine against the dollar for the last nearly 2 years at this point. It's been trending up for nearly 2 years, which is a narrative that you won't hear the toxic Bitcoin maxis communicate to you, even though it is true. XRP rather, has absolutely been trending up for close to 2 years. So, you know, if XRP is obviously going to find a bottom against Bitcoin, because Bitcoin will find a peak this cycle like it always does. So for XRP to go to zero against Bitcoin, Bitcoin would have to go up against the dollar forever, and or XRP would have to go to zero against the dollar. Is that what happens now? No, that is not what happens now. That doesn't make any damn sense. So I don't know for sure if this was the bottom on April 13th. It could be. That could be the bottom of the cycle. I don't know. But even if it's not, eventually we find one, because Bitcoin's not going to have enough steam to do this in perpetuity. And then, on top of that, if you understand that every single cycle that's ever existed where there's an alt season, the money rotates, and there has been. Money does rotate into altcoins. XRP is an altcoin. The asset class moves in tandem. You'd have to be an idiot to think that XRP is not going to have a jump. Now, to what degree we'll see, and there's an argument as to whether or not XRP is going to hit a new all-time high. I say yes. And if I'm wrong about that, and I could be wrong, I don't know for sure. I'm just sharing with you my conviction. Then absolutely, we're going to need to talk about what the hell happened in the aftermath of this. But I just don't think that's probable. It doesn't make sense to me. Why the hell else would it still be? Why would XRP be in the top 10 coins by market cap, especially after what happened with the SEC? And it's just never going to go again. That was it. So the best that XRP would ever see, it happened on January 4th, 2018. That was the all-time high. It's been over 6 years. That was it, though. And then it's just, if it's on live support, why is it still in the top 10? Why do we keep seeing further adoption? Why did we see the community getting bigger? Why do we look at on-chain metrics and see greater adoption? Why do we see over 5.2 million wallets when XRP had its peak, by the way, it was a little over 1 million wallets? So fivefold increase in that 6-year time despite an SEC attack. Why do we see all that? But it's just going to zero, right? And it couldn't have been that it didn't hit a new all-time high last cycle because of the SEC, right? Well, that's what the toxic Bitcoin maxi trolls would have you believe. Here's a post from chart analyst Bob Ye. XRP BTC, that is all. That's what he wrote here. Now, he's showing you the 2017 and early 2018 bull run for XRP against Bitcoin. Obviously massive. Face melt season. You'll love to see it. Then you can see here what happened with the lawsuit. If you look at the screen, obviously, the end of 2020. Still saw a pump for XRP against Bitcoin because it does move in tandem. And if you think that's not going to happen when it did happen, even last market cycle, it had a pump against Bitcoin. Why? So we know it happened during the time where there was an SEC lawsuit, but now that there is no such thing as far as XRP is concerned anyway, now it's not going to do that? These people are straight up lying to you, or they're idiots. Maybe it's both. And so here you can see this is the point we're at right now. And this chart is yet to play out, so we'll see exactly what happens here. But he's noting, look what happened last cycle. What do we have? Lawsuit issues. What do you have here now? Legal clarity. Ripple stablecoin, which is good for XRP, by the way. I've talked about that quite a bit. Ripple IPO. It's not going to be bad for XRP, and that'll probably happen at some point, even if not this market cycle. So I'm not as convinced that's crucial for XRP. And then when you're talking about bank partnership announcements, if you're talking, and I can only make a guess here, if you're talking about XRP specifically being used as a bridge currency with banks, I still think that stuff matters for the long haul, though. I'm just being intellectually honest. These types of news events have never moved XRP in any sort of detectable way. I'm just being honest with you. But still, I think that type of thing, the actual adoption, that's good for the long-term viability of XRP, unquestionably. And then when you're talking about real-world asset tokenization, well, yeah. I mean, think about this. XRP Ledger has the world's first ever built-in decentralized exchange. It's the world's first. And back in 2015, gold was tokenized. That was 9 years ago. It was being sold on the XRP Ledger, bought and sold on the XRP Ledger. So we'll see to what degree it gets adopted on the XRP Ledger, because there's clearly a move towards this. But XRP is required for all of that. I don't think it's going to be a winner-takes-all thing here. But yeah, this has been going on since inception for XRP anyway. So reasonable things to talk about. I just wanted to parse some of that out. But broadly speaking, the stuff listed there, yeah, obviously it's good for XRP, but I will tell you this, the legal clarity one's the biggest, and now that cloud's not hanging over us, and we're in this bull market, yeah, this is when S-word gets real. That's my full expectation of what happens here. So yeah, even though Bitcoin, XRP is losing steam against Bitcoin today, think about even if Bitcoin doubles from here, or it gets real crazy and it triples or something, okay. Well, imagine XRP only doubling or tripling. It's going to go way higher than that this cycle, don't you think? So that's why when we're talking about XRP against Bitcoin, it's going to put it to shame. It just looks this quote unquote like bad before that happens, of course, because bottoms are formed. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.